How many times have we looked at something that happened in our life and immediately called it a disaster? And how many times did that same disaster later turn out to be a hidden blessing? The truth is, we are never wise enough to judge life in the moment it arrives. What feels like a loss today might be preparing us for something far greater tomorrow. But most of us don't have the patience to wait and see. Today's story is about a simple farmer who understood something that most of us struggle with our entire lives: the art of patience and trust in life's timing. While everyone around him celebrated too quickly or grieved too deeply, this farmer stayed calm through every storm and every sunrise. And by the end of his journey, life proved him right in the most powerful way. So watch this video till the end, because this story might just change the way you look at every good and bad thing that happens in your life. A long time ago, at the foot of the lush green Aravalli Hills in the heart of India, there lay a small village. It was surrounded by golden wheat fields, mango orchards, and the gentle sound of a river that flowed nearby. Life in the village was simple. People worked the land from sunrise to sunset, shared stories under the shade of banyan trees, and measured their worth by what they owned: the size of their fields, the number of their cattle, the strength of their sons. Among the villagers lived a farmer. He was not rich, he was not powerful. His house was small, built from mud and dry grass. He lived there with his wife, a kind and patient woman, and their only son, a strong young man who worked beside his father every single day, rising before dawn to lead the ox to the fields. The family didn't have much. They had a small piece of land, an old ox that helped them plow, a loyal dog that guarded their home at night, and a couple of cows that gave them just enough milk. But there was one thing this family treasured above all else: a horse. He was tall, strong, and strikingly handsome, with a shining chestnut coat that caught the sunlight like polished wood, and sharp, intelligent eyes that seemed to understand every word spoken to him. The farmer had raised him since he was a young colt, and over the years the horse had become more than just an animal. He was part of the family, Suwan Soit, the son's closest companion, and the subject of quiet admiration whenever visitors passed through the village. Now, what made this farmer truly different from everyone else in the village was not what he owned, it was how he lived. No matter what happened, good or bad, the farmer never lost his calm. When the rain didn't come and the crops withered under the harsh sun, he didn't curse the sky or fall to his knees in despair. When the harvest was plentiful and the granary overflowed, he didn't boast to his neighbors or throw a lavish feast. He simply worked, prayed, and accepted whatever life brought him with a quiet, unshakable peace that seemed to come from somewhere deep within. No matter what happened, good or bad, he would simply say, "Who knows what is good and what is bad? Only time will tell. Everything happens for a reason. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong." The villagers could never understand him. They thought he was odd. Some even whispered behind his back that he was a fool, a man too simple to feel real joy or real sorrow the way everyone else did. One day, word about the farmer's beautiful horse reached a wealthy merchant who often traveled through the region. The merchant came to the village, and when he saw the horse, he was stunned. He immediately offered the farmer a sack of gold coins, enough money to feed his family for years. The villagers gathered around, their eyes wide with excitement. They whispered to each other, he would be a fool to refuse such an offer. But the farmer gently shook his head and said, "This horse is not just an animal to us. He is part of our family. I cannot sell him at any cost. This horse is not for sale." The merchant raised his offer twice, but the farmer stood firm, calm, and unmoved. Eventually, the merchant left, disappointed, and the village erupted with gossip. "What a foolish man," they said, gathering in small clusters near the well. "He could have been the richest farmer in the village. Now he will remain poor forever. He had his one big chance, and he threw it away with his own hands." But the farmer said nothing in his defense. He simply returned to his field and continued his work, guiding the ox through the rows of wheat, as though nothing unusual had happened at all. A few days later, something shocking happened. One morning, the son went to the stable and found it empty. The rope was untied, the horse was gone, The farmer and his son searched everywhere, through the fields, along the riverbank, into the edges of the forest, and even into the neighboring villages. But there was no sign of the horse anywhere. The villagers shook their heads and clicked their tongues. "We told him so," they said. "He should have taken the merchant's gold when he had the chance. Now he has nothing. No horse and no money. What a terrible loss." The son was heartbroken that evening. He sat beside his father on the low wooden bench outside their home, staring at the empty stable in the distance, and said, "We have lost our most valuable companion. How can you be so calm, father?" The farmer placed his hand gently on his son's shoulder and said softly, "My son, what looks like a loss today may not be a loss tomorrow. Don't be so quick to call this a disaster. There is good and bad hidden in everything that happens to us. Only time can reveal the true nature of what life gives us. Everything happens for a reason. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong." The son did not fully understand his father's words, but he trusted him and he tried, though it was difficult, to be patient. Then, about a week later, something unbelievable happened. Early one morning, as mist still covered the fields, the son heard the sound of hooves. He ran outside and could not believe his eyes. The horse had returned, and behind him followed 5 wild horses, strong, untamed, and magnificent. The horse had found a herd in the forest and brought them home. The village buzzed with excitement. The same people who had called the farmer foolish now called him the luckiest man alive. "Now he has 6 horses," they exclaimed. "He will be wealthier than the merchant himself." But the farmer simply smiled and said quietly to his son, "Do not celebrate too soon, my son. We do not yet know what this will bring. Let us not judge this moment either. Only time will tell." Eager to train the wild horses, the son mounted one of the strongest stallions the very next day. The horse bucked and twisted violently, throwing him to the ground. There was a sickening crack. His right leg was broken in 2 places. The village healer rushed to their home. He set the bone and wrapped it tightly, but he told the farmer's wife that the boy would need many weeks to recover and might always walk with a slight limp. Once again, the villagers whispered. "Those wild horses brought nothing but trouble," they said. "The farmer's greed for more has cost his son dearly." Lying in pain, the son looked at his father with heavy eyes and asked, "Was this meant to happen too?" The farmer sat beside him, just as calm as ever, and replied, "The same rain that floods the valley also nourishes the forest, my son. Do not judge this moment. Only time will tell. Everything happens for a reason. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong." Then, just 2 weeks later, the unthinkable happened. Sound of drums and trumpets echoed through the village. The king's soldiers rode in with a royal decree. A war had broken out on the northern border, and every able-bodied young man was to be drafted into the army immediately. There were no exceptions. One by one, the young men of the village were taken. Strong sons who had never held a sword, boys who had only ever known the plow and the harvest. Mothers wailed, fathers stood in stunned silence. The village felt as though its heart had been ripped out. But when the soldiers came to the farmer's door and saw his son lying on a cot with his leg bound in splints, they shook their heads and moved on. "This one is of no use to us," they said. The son was spared. Months passed. The war was brutal and long. When it finally ended, news trickled back to the village. Of the 23 young men who had been taken, only 9 returned. The rest had perished on the battlefield. Families that had once mocked the farmer now grieved for sons they would never see again. And there, beneath the old neem tree behind their small mud house, sat the son, alive and healing, his leg slowly mending, walking now with only the faintest limp, a small price for a life that could so easily have been lost on a distant battlefield instead. Their beloved horse grazed peacefully in the field nearby, and the 5 wild horses, now tamed through patient months of gentle training, helped the family work twice the land they once could, pulling plows and carrying grain with a strength that had quietly transformed their small farm into one of the most productive in the entire village. That evening, the farmer sat with his son under the old tree, the sky above them painted in deep orange and soft purple as the sun sank behind the hills. The son looked at his father with new eyes, eyes that had finally understood something words alone could never have taught him. "You were right all along, Father," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Every time I thought the world was ending, it was actually just beginning something new." The farmer nodded slowly, resting a weathered hand on his son's shoulder, and said, "My son, this is the greatest wisdom I can give you. Never celebrate too quickly and never grieve too deeply. Life is like a river. It turns and bends, and you cannot see what lies around the next corner. What looks like a flood today may water the fields of tomorrow." The horse disappearing seemed like a tragedy, but he returned with 5 more. "Your broken leg felt like a punishment, but it saved your life. We are never wise enough to judge what life gives us in the moment it arrives." The son, for the first time, truly understood the greatest lesson of his life. The farmer's wisdom teaches us 3 things we can all practice starting today. First, stop judging every moment the instant it arrives. Give life the time it needs to reveal its full picture, because the first chapter rarely tells the whole story. Second, trust the process. Just because you cannot see the road ahead does not mean it leads nowhere. Some of the darkest stretches of the path lead to the most beautiful destinations. And third, stay steady in both good times and bad. When things go well, stay humble. When things fall apart, stay hopeful. Balance is the key to inner peace, and peace is the one thing gold can never buy. The horse running away seemed like a disaster, but it brought 5 more horses home. The wild horses seemed like a blessing, but they led to a broken leg. The broken leg seemed like a curse, but it saved a young man's life. Every event was connected quietly, invisibly, each one revealing its true meaning only in the fullness of time. Life does not unfold in straight lines. It twists, it turns, and it surprises us at every corner. What looks like a curse today may become your greatest blessing tomorrow, and what feels like a reward may carry a hidden challenge within it, waiting patiently to test your character. Life will test you with sudden loss and unexpected gain, and you must not let either one control you completely. Practice patience. The complete picture is always larger than the piece you can see today. Stay grounded in gratitude no matter what season of life you are passing through, whether it is a season of plenty or a season of famine. And above all, keep your faith strong, because even in the darkest moments, something meaningful is quietly unfolding beneath the surface, even when you cannot see it yet. The wisdom is simple but powerful. Do not break down when times are hard, and do not lose yourself when times are good. Stay balanced, stay grateful, stay patient. Because only when the full story is told can you truly understand why each chapter was written the way it was. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times did something go wrong and you thought it was the end of everything? Maybe you lost a job you thought defined you, failed an exam you had prepared for endlessly, went through a breakup that shattered your sense of self, or faced a financial setback that kept you awake at night. In that moment, it felt like the sky was falling, like there was no way forward. But weeks, months, or even years later, you looked back and realized that very setback had quietly pushed you towards something better. A new career you never would have found otherwise, a stronger relationship built on lessons the old one taught you, a deeper understanding of who you really are beneath all the noise. Life is not a single chapter, it is a whole book with twists you cannot predict and endings you cannot rush toward. And no one can judge a book by reading just one page, no matter how dark or how bright that single page might seem in the moment. So the next time something happens that shakes you to your core, take a deep breath and remind yourself only time will tell. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong. Always remember this. Don't celebrate too soon and don't grieve too early. Life has a way of turning things around when you least expect it. Wait until the evening to see how splendid the day has truly been. Everything happens for a reason. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong. Now I want to hear from you. Think about a time in your life when something that seemed terrible at first actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Share it in the comments below. Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs to hear today. If you believe this message should reach more people, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little patience in their life right now, and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you stories that inspire and uplift. I'll be back again soon with another powerful story like this one. Until then, be patient, stay grateful, and keep moving forward in life.